So if you haven't seen The Accountant 2 yet, you should. If you liked the first one, you will probably like the second one. It is a little bit lighter, a little bit more comedic than the first one. These two guys on screen together, they need to do more movies together. I loved the brotherly um, sort of camaraderie that they had. The chemistry was very good between these two guys when they were on screen. I mean, I like both of these actors individually. I will watch just about anything that these two guys put out. Um, so it was easy for me to sit down and watch this with Chris and follow up on the first film. Now, I've seen the first movie twice. Chris has seen it once. It took her a little bit to get up to speed. She was like, wait, is this? Oh, I remember what this character is. It's like, yeah, yeah, this is the autistic guy who is basically really good at numbers and was trained by the mob and then ended up becoming this sort of like uh, assassin slash cleaner slash investigator slash guy, right? And then his brother is very much literally, played by Jon Bernthal, is literally a trained killer, a professional hitman, literally. So the crux of this movie is essentially about the character of J.K. Simmons, who only has a very brief part in this movie. He essentially is tracking down this woman who he ends up meeting in a bar right before everything goes to hell and back, a bar in Mexico, before everything goes to hell and back, and there's a group of hitmen who get sent after him and after the girl that he was meeting with, and then she ends up taking out like everybody in the room, and then he himself gets taken out, which sparks Cynthia Addai-Robinson's character, Mary Beth Medina, who's the deputy director of the Treasury Department. She gets involved because her boss was J.K. Simmons' character, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her boss. And she apparently has been getting fed information from his, and I can't remember. This is where it's been a while since I've seen the first one. It's essentially his like business partner, who's also another autistic person, who uses like a computer, like a British woman's voice through a computer because she's nonverbal. And she basically helps him run his business. And the two of them have been feeding information to Mary Beth's character over the years, and also to J.K. Simmons' character. And um, basically, she realizes that there's somebody out there that knows more about this, and so she goes, sets out to track him down, tracks him down, gets him involved, and then through the course of the investigation, he decides that he's not going to be able to do this on himself, and he's going to need to bring in his brother. Now, where the sequel, I feel, kind of drifts away from, I think some of the appeal of the first game, sorry, I looked over my computer where I have Steam open. Some of the appeal of the first movie was the sort of mystery around who his character was. So now that mystery has been dispelled, what do you do with his character? And this is where I will say, as much as I enjoyed this film, I do feel like his portrayal of the character was a lot less nuanced in this film and much more geared towards, um, he's they didn't really lean into the autism as much as they did in the first film, I guess is maybe the way I'd be looking at this. Since we've kind of already established that, they kind of shed that cloak. And instead, this is more about him basically dominating the screen with Jon Bernthal as these two very capable individuals who are good at tearing through lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of bad guys with bullets. Um, Throughout the movie, it is peppered with some really just hilarious banter between these two. There is a ridiculously um, silly, I would argue that it was almost slapstick silly scene in a country bar where his character, where the character Christian um, watches these people line dancing, and he's like basically hitting on this girl, but he has no verbal skills. He's just not capable of flirting because of the way that he speaks and his mannerisms. But he's like analyzing the dance, and he's like, "Oh, this looks like fun." And he gets into the line dance, and he starts line dancing to this country music, and I was just like, I felt like it was that part of the film. Like I said, it was just there's some very good comedic moments. Um, the the moment when towards the end of the film when he picks up the cat and he's like, "Look what I found," and his brother's like, "I told you you were a cat person." There was just some really good comedic moments in here. Some were over the top, but some of them felt very natural in the way they were written between two brothers. So I really did appreciate how this film was done. His character, particularly, there is a scene towards the beginning of when we're getting reintroduced to him where he's having this conversation with this terrified girl at a table. She's like a blonde, and she's obviously a prostitute. And I suspected at the back of my mind, it's got to be this scene. It felt a little, obvious what was going on there. Where it was like, this has got to be a scene where he has come in and he's just assassinated somebody, and this poor girl is terrified because he's sitting here at a table, like eating a pint of ice cream and like rambling off to her about all this stuff, and she's just like, uh-huh, okay. And he's asking her about what do you like. She's like, films. He's like, what's your favorite film? And then when the scene finally finishes and the camera pans away as he's walking out, there's like 7 or 8 dead bodies in the scene. And it was like there was a lot of stuff in this movie that was very predictable and very by the rote. But I do feel like it was overall um, quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. A fairly you know, it was an entertaining film, and I think that's all you can ask for when you're watching something is that you are going to be entertained. According to right now, it looks like 76% is the Rotten Tomatoes score. Um, says the website's consensus reads improving on the original by leaning into Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal's buddy comedy chemistry. This can be safely filed away under a good time at the movies. And I'm like, I kind of agree with that take on things because like I said, it almost felt at times like it was a buddy cop film, even though these two guys are not buddies. They're not cops. Definitely an action film. There's a lot of really good fight scenes in this film. Um, the shootout at the end was pretty fun. There's some good hand-to-hand stuff. The moment when they get into it at the bar and he purposely provokes the guys to hit him so that his brother will come defend him was great. Just some really good stuff overall. So again, at the end of the day, I had a good time, and I have to admit, I would not be against another pairing of these two in some form of a third film to wrap up a trilogy about the accountant and his brother, because I just feel like the chemistry between the two was so entertaining. And like I said, I like these guys individually as actors, and bringing them together like this was pretty well done. I kind of feel, and I'm wondering, didn't he do? Oh man, there was a Netflix movie they did with Oscar Isaac, and I can't remember if Jon Bernthal was also in that movie, and I cannot remember. I'm probably gonna go look up Ben Affleck's um, IMDb page really quick. Filmography. This is what I'm looking at. Because I know he did a Netflix film a few years ago. I'm gonna go look at what it was called. I don't remember. Triple Frontier. Was Jon Bernthal also in this? No, it was Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Garrett Hedlund, Pedro Pascal. I wasn't remembering correctly. I was for some reason thinking that they had done that movie together, but it was a different cast of characters. Anyway, good film. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Drop them down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Lots of movies and TV shows get reviewed here, along with the video games, and I stream every single day on YouTube and Twitch. See you next time.